Hey, what's up guys? Little man with a big opinion here. And in today's video, I've compiled a list of 10 things to be on the lookout for at garage sales, estate sales, and eBay, Craigslist, anywhere where you're purchasing something that is most likely used or it's belonged to someone for a while, and you're most likely to get whatever item you're purchasing for less than you would buy a brand new one, and you get to play the game of how worn out is something versus how much am I paying for it. And before I get into this list, I would also like to make an announcement. In the description down below, I will put a link to a Teesprings merchandise store. I've only made one t-shirt design. I put it on a t-shirt, a long sleeve shirt, and a sweater. And the way that I set it up is I should come out with a design once a week. I'm working on making a logo and different things for that. But it's another way to support the channel if you would like to. And I've tried to give you as many options for colors and sizes. The last time I looked, you could get from a small all the way up to a 5XL for the t-shirt. And I think the long sleeve shirt goes up to like a 3 or 4XL. And the sweater goes up to a 2 or 3XL. And there's at least 20 different shirt designs or shirt colors to choose from. There's only one design at the moment, but if it's something you're interested in the description down below, I've got a link to a merchandise store that will be growing as I grow the channel. So let's get into this list. The very first thing I put on here is cast irons. I've got a cast iron teapot that I got for Christmas one year from my grandmother. I've got the $8 Lodge cast iron skillet from Walmart. And then we have an assortment of different sizes. We've got a bread maker, a Dutch oven, and most of our cast iron stuff has come from a garage sale for $5 or less. It can be fairly expensive purchasing brand new cast iron. And then this could be a pro or a con with cast iron, but depending on who is selling it, the pro is it could already be seasoned. They could have kept up with it and it's good to go. Or it could be a little rusty and in need of restoration and, a good coat to, preserve it for even longer and allow you to get a lot of use out of it. Number 2 on this list, and it's a very big category, I just put camping gear. I went to the Philmont Scout Reservation, and the hiking pack that I had was a $580 hiking pack that me and my grandpa found on Craigslist for $150. The guy's wife bought a pack. She didn't like it. I think he said she used it for one trip for 5 miles. So it was virtually a brand new pack, and it was sold for less than half of its value. And I still have that pack to this day. I still, carry it on hikes and get it ready for a camping trip, and I'm most likely going to use that one instead of the Army Ruck because I like that one more. But that's not all the camping gear that you can get. You can get tents, sleeping bags, stoves, chairs. There is a endless possibility of camping gear, and it could be similar to that backpack that I got. Someone was getting into something, they purchased stuff, they didn't stick with it, or they upgraded or something along those lines, and you could be purchasing stuff that is fairly new or lightly used. The other side of that is, you could be purchasing stuff that was used heavily, but, if you're just getting into prepping or you have a very limited budget for prepping, then, buying a tent for $10 that, you could use for 6 to 9 months or whatever, and it might have a couple of holes, it's got a couple of spots of tape. I'd rather do that for a little while than spend 50 to $100+ on a tent, especially when, if you're a brand new prepper, you don't really know how far you want to go into it. I would say for me, it's a lifestyle. For brand new preppers, it could be a hobby. You're dipping your feet in, trying to test the waters. So buying used camping gear like that could, allow you to put money into something else within prepping to kind of, gauge what you want. The other thing is, if you're buying stuff that's lightly used or functioning and in good condition, camping gear wise, if you bought a sleeping bag for $5 instead of spending, 20 to several $100s, then the money you saved from that prepping purchase can go into another prepping item that maybe it's something you do want to purchase brand new and not used. So next thing I got on this list, it's a big category in the prepping supplies for me, and that is entertainment. I just put board games and puzzles, but it could be books, a acoustic guitar, just whatever entertains you. It could be a football, volleyball, different things like that. I think something that my mom instilled in me forever ago is busy people don't get in trouble. Bored kids get in trouble. So having something to entertain you, not only, regularly when your lights are still on and we don't have any problems, but if you can provide any type of comfort, take people's minds off of the stressful situation of SHTF, then cheap board games is the way to go. I'd rather buy Monopoly for $2 and be missing some money in a couple of pieces than buy a brand new Monopoly board for $30. Hasbro is pretty expensive on that. Next thing I have on here is tools. For the most part, as long as they work, I've never seen people try to sell broken tools. They tend to throw those out, or they just, it's not something you find in garage sales, is broken tools. And as a prepper, when, the crap hits the fan, you're responsible for your stuff. It would really suck for something to break down and you know how to fix it, but not have the tools to fix it. So tools are another thing I look for. The next thing, I haven't really seen this stuff at garage sales, but I have seen it at estate sales, and that is medical supplies. Older people tend to have health problems, and they tend to have a lot of medical supplies. I'm not saying buy the old lady's insulin or their, 1,200 milligram ibuprofen, but, you get older, your skin tears easier, they have a lot more bandages than, you would think of. Or the diabetic person does have the single-use needles. You buy it from there instead of Walmart. Medical supplies, just whatever is there, as long as it's not something that's been opened or it's expired, then buy up the Band-Aids, buy up the, extra diabetic supplies and stuff like that. but you can find it at garage sales. I just haven't found anything. Mostly estate sales for that one. The next thing I have on here, it's kind of a two-parter. It's hunting and fishing gear, with a little offset of firearms and ammunition. That is one of the few things at a garage sale that I have never seen being sold at like a discounted or, bargained price, is the firearms. For the most part, that's the one thing people really tend to research, know what they have, and they want every penny for that. But the other hunting gear, getting a ghillie suit or just camo clothing, wool socks, for fishing gear, a full tackle box. I remember my dad spending several $100s every time we went to the coast to fill up his tackle box. And then his 4 kids would get lines caught, we'd cut them, we'd have to put new stuff on, we'd get lines caught again, fish would break the lines, and it was a never-ending cycle. Finding one box of, let's say, 50 lures, that's a lot, 20 lures. They're $3 to $10 a piece, so if you can get that whole box for $10, you save yourself $50 to $100. Let's see. So, ammunition, kind of on the firearm side of things, kind of on the hunting. You can find it sometimes, and it can be reasonably priced sometimes. But next on the list is I have gold and silver. My grandmother has told me a story several times of, buying a 10-carat ring for $4 at a garage sale. And the gold value of it is $300 or $400, and she still has it to this day, sitting in a safe somewhere. Some people don't know what they have. Estate sales are getting a lot better at hiring, estate managers to know, like, they'll go through this kind of stuff because they get a commission on what they're selling. So they're not going to sell all the jewelry for, $1 per bag. They will go through all of it, find out what's got a K on it, whether it's 10K, 24K, whether it's sterling silver or silver, real gemstones or not. But you can find this kind of stuff at garage sales. More often than not, I find sterling silver stuff that I turn around and resell. The reason I put gold and silver on here is when you can get it for a deal and you can turn around and make a quick dollar off of it. As a prepper that has a limited budget, I'm in my early 20s and I've got bills to pay. I can't dedicate hundreds and thousands of dollars monthly towards prepping. So any opportunity that I can make a profit on something from a garage sale that I know I can sell quickly, which for the most part is the gold and silver, then I'll pick that kind of stuff up because it will help, facilitate and continue my pursuit of buying other prepping supplies for a discounted price. Okay, the next one I have on here, I moved about 8 hours further north. When it comes to cold weather gear, I'm slightly lacking. If you can purchase quilts, sleeping bags, jackets, flannels, any of that kind of thing for a fairly cheap price, then I'd say that's a pretty good thing. I will never say no to extra blankets because, I know when it gets cold outside, you can always add more layers and you will eventually get warm. If it's hot outside, you can only take off so many layers before you start getting tickets for, nudity in public and stuff like that. And last thing on this list I have is antiques. Specifically the things that I have purchased are, I talked about cast irons. It got its own category. I purchased a washboard back when I worked at a Boy Scout camp, and I was running a 18th century living history program. I bought it for the area. We had someone demonstrate washing clothes with it, and if push came to shove, I could use that to wash clothes. I bought a butter churner, and I gave it to my dad because he really likes antiques, but I've seen other ones. I just haven't, bit the bullet and bought another one. Blacksmithing tools. When I was in high school, I got really into it, so I bought railroad spikes. I bought hammers. My dad bought an anvil for me and my brothers. And the list goes on. Antiques at estate sales, garage sales, and maybe even antique stores if you want to throw it in for that one. What a lot of people don't not understand, don't realize when it comes to prepping, is if the grid goes down, the U.S. lost power. Nukes fell on our major cities, and the economy collapsed. Whatever. The preppers that have the funds to purchase solar and wind, they will be able to maintain, briefly a small bit of our former society. But that kind of stuff will break down. Solar panels, they used to only have like a 5 to 10 year, lifespan. Now some of them are lasting 20 and 30 years. But eventually that stuff will break down. And for most of the preppers that your main priorities were food, water, security, and, sustainability of those things, I myself, I don't have solar panels. I don't have a massive battery storage. I can charge my phone about 10 times with the little battery banks that I have. And after that, it lights out. So for most preppers and most people, life as we know it will go back to 18th and 19th century living. You'll have to use a fire to cook. You'll have to use a lot of the antique tools that you'll find to make everyday products. A butter churner. You're not going to be able to go get your butter off a shelf. You're going to have to use milk, churn it, or actually turn it into heavy whipping cream or heavy cream first, then churn it. It's a process that's tedious, but a lot of the antique supplies, if you pick those up from garage sales and learn how to use it and learn the skills, because you're going to have to do most of the work yourself, then that's a pretty big one to pick up. Gotta catch my breath. Been talking for almost 20 minutes now. But that's the end of the list. I hope you enjoyed the video. If any of this information was helpful or useful, then like and subscribe. If you have a friend or family member that would benefit from the information given in said video, then share it with them. And remember, we got a new t-shirt design. Even if you just go look and check it out, I'd appreciate that. It'll be in the description down below. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.